Hi everyone, I'm Maggie. I'm going to be walking you through the skin cancer lab assignment for this week. I have all of our materials set out here, and the first thing that we are going to do is put our sun printing paper into each bag. I have these bags pre-labeled. We have Control, SPF 50, and SPF 30. Okay, so one of them is going into our SPF 30. Sealing that all the way. This one to our SPF 50. And one into our Control. The next step that we're going to take here is cover the bags labeled with the SPF with each prospective SPF. So I have the SPF 30 here in my hand, and we're going to cover all over this square. We have each of the sunscreens covering the squares. We are going to take them and let them sit outside for 5 minutes. While we're waiting on our 5 minutes outside, we can go over some of the questions that go through this lab. What is skin cancer? Skin cancer occurs when there is abnormal cell growth from the skin cells. There are 3 major types of skin cancer. Those are basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. The primary areas on the body that are most susceptible are those that are exposed to the sun. So those include the scalp, anywhere on your face, your arms, your neck area. Some of the symptoms from melanoma include their large brownish spots that can have like abnormal speckles in them. It can start as a mole that might change color, look different, be raised. It could bleed. You can have a small lesion on your skin where a portion of it appears to be like almost like bruised looking or red and pink. It can burn. There could be dark lesions on your the palms of your hands, your fingertips, your toes, in your mouth, nose. And melanoma occurs in people with darker skin tones, but it's more likely to occur in areas that aren't regularly exposed to the sun. We're going to move on to the next kind of cancers, basal cell carcinoma, and symptoms for that could be pearly or wax-like bumps on the skin. They could be flesh colored, they could be brown, they can kind of look like a scar almost. Bleeding and scabbing of the scar looking thing can appear, and it can also return after coming back, like being not bleeding. Some of the main symptoms for squamous cell carcinoma are they're firm, red, almost like little nodule looking things. They could also be like a flat, scaly, crusty. The major cause for skin cancer is exposure to UV radiation. Much of this damage comes from skin cells that are exposed to UV, and that could be natural sunlight or in something like a tanning bed. The other thing that is much less common but still happens is exposure to toxic substances. Risk factors are family history of repeated sunburns, fair skin, excessive exposure to the sun and the UV rays, living in somewhere that's a high altitude climate, that's very sunny. Excuse me. You can have a weak immune system, exposure to radiation, and exposure to toxins. There's lots of measures that can be taken to avoid skin cancer. Those are avoiding the sun in the middle of the day when it's the most strong, getting your regular skin checks at the dermatologist, wearing protective clothing that protects your arms, your neck, and your head. Don't go in tanning beds, and be cautious if you're taking any medication that might make your skin more susceptible to sunburns. UV light increases the chance of developing skin cancer because the UV light directly damages our skin cells, and this causes an area where mutations can happen and uncontrolled cell growth and potentially developing tumors. Sunscreen is one of the biggest things. They do recommend that you wear sunscreen year round to protect against skin cancer. And then wearing protective clothing and sunglasses, and then seeking shade when you are outside. Let's check on our experiment. The next step we're going to take here is adding water to each one of these to stop the chemical reaction. We now have each of our samples out of the water, and we're going to let them dry in a dark space until they're completely dry.